Codec check.
Oh, wow.
Is the
It working.
All right, well, we're doing audio checks. Goblins check. Toes!
no.
It came through just fine.
Not me realizing that, like, I grabbed a bag of free toes from the kitchen.
No. All right, listen. We have all these fan artists. Toes are coming. I can feel it in
Same.
my bones.
I've seen a couple people in chat so far ask if Conrad has toes, and the answer is nope, and that is definitely part of the plan.
So you're safe.
Yeah.
Well, he
I
has,
can't speak
he
for
has,
everyone else, but
he has webbies, right? So he's got those
Yeah.
little talon.
He's got
talons.
spurs.
yeah, I don't, he's this guy's got to be hungry for like proper toes. I take it. So
I'm in danger then. This fucking song. Have a stroke.
Welcome back.
No, you're toaster.
Thank you for putting up with my talking about the setting that I built. I'm very happy to have done that. It was really fun.
Thank you for padding things out because I didn't have a whole lot of prep tonight.
No, that's fine. I'm probably gonna talk a little bit more about some stuff if I can get away with it, but
We need some time for exposition, for sure.
Yeah.
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 You know, episode 2, it's always the exposition episode. You set up the plot in episode 1, you kind of establish stuff in episode 2.
You raise a bunch of questions and you answer them all.
I like
Or as
how
many as you can.
stupidly salty Conrad is over Argo. Like he's legit more pissed off at Argo than Beck by a mile. Like
This is a lot of fun. It's a fun dynamic. I really like the dynamic between, really specifically, Conrad and Beck, and then Nicodemus and Beck. There's like a weird frontier sensibility about all of them that is like, sometimes the way to live and like the way to survive is not like the good way that it's not good choices. Like we don't want, sometimes you have to put up with the asshole and just nod your head and play along so that the rest of the bar doesn't get shot up. You know what I mean? And like that's interesting. That's like a fun space to play in.
Well, also you have to think about like what can, even if something is insufferable, what can they bring to the table, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Chekhov's toes.
Oh no. Right, Pavlov's toes. I see toes, I start drooling. I'll stop.
No, keep going.
That's going in the mid show.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an idle banter.
We know horror is dead when like the toes curl up like the Wicked Witch of the East.
Oh no.
Oh, they bend backwards for that. I'm just now thinking about it.
Sometimes my toes bend backwards.
I was just about to say that.
oh yeah.
get
Meanwhile,
that.
Toes,
now.
handshake.
Yeah, we just put Caw through Twin Peaks, so he was part of the
excellent,
Twin Peaks
excellent.
club.
Oh, I need to watch it still.
You do.
Now it's Keith's turn. He
You're
started.
about 30 years late, but you still got it.
I can't believe that we have another coyote with glowing eyes and a tiger.
Look, that's just what coyotes do.
They're two great tastes that taste great together.
The original character do not steal.
I was trying to get as much Erebus in this episode as I could, just because I was like, I want people to draw him, and
Yeah.
two, I just like want people to realize that they can interact with him. So I'm like, how do I seed this scene so people know he's a character that I am not just summoning, that he is here with me. He is a bespoke part of this setting.
Darkness, walk with me.
Oh yeah, I don't have my edge.
Oh yeah. Did we settle on one?
Yeah.
Whoops! I just added every edge to you. My bad.
Oh. That. Wow, I'm an agent now, and I have arcane powers, and I can burrow.
All right, this is gonna take me.
That might be helpful. Is that standard practice in duels?
Winner
Standard
take
practice
road.
for Taslin Beck.
Argo
Oh,
hated
goodness.
that.
Well, still was fine.
This man came for vengeance, but he did not receive it.
That fucking quick draw ability saved my life.
It did. You got that second card.
You almost
Oh
died
my
yourself.
God.
Yeah,
That was
it could
crazy.
have been bad.
That would have been funny.
Bucky's so tragic. No.
You're scaring the goblin.
I'm scared of the goblin. Let's be real.
Yeah. Well,
I will say I'm glad you didn't have a sprite for what you had described.
Hopefully there's fan art of him eating toes disgustingly.
The feast.
Yeah, we don't have the budget for CGs yet, but wait a little bit and maybe we'll get there.
It seems like we seem to
I'm
get
wondering.
one.
I'm wondering if the more toes he collects, the more his power grows.
What have you done?
That seems very fake creature to me. I'm leery about that.
Like
goblin.
Giga Bowser.
I don't know.
Does Bowser eat toes?
I mean,
Let me check E621.
Let me
goblin
Google
just keeps
Bowser
getting-
toes.
the goblin just keeps getting more bees.
I need to save my beehive.
God, that is
I
why
will
it's
say,
called.
though-
That's why it's called. It's spelled goblin with a like that.
Yeah.
He's goblin
It's different.
toes.
This was a big goal of today. Is I was talking to Ka at the end of the last session, and I was like, "All right, we have established our party. It's fun because obviously I mentioned at the end of the last campaign, I had no idea any of the stuff that Ka planned. Ka always throws wrenches into my plans, and then I have to come up with new ideas on like how do we get from A to B? This is a puzzle. And so this time. My goal personally was like, all right, I have a few pieces of information I need to get to the group, right? Like I'm trying to get the group on my side. I have a contract and a formal agreement now that I'm trying to make with Conrad. I'm going to need to find some way to justify that so that people don't just stop and ask like, why didn't you just kill him? Aren't you a ruthless killer? Like there's got to be some sort of pomp and circumstance to all of that. So that was my goal going in, and we got so much more than that. We got so many chances to learn about the rest of the setting, and especially we're approaching concepts that I didn't think we were going to get to, like the path between domains and things like that, which is really fun. That's really fun stuff. That was fun for me to get to talk about, just because I wasn't expecting to do that this time at all.
I'm excited. You guys did a lot of good vamping tonight, a lot of character building, a lot of good character exchanges and scenes, learning who these people are, even a little bit of growth as they start to differ from the characters they were when they were first introduced. And we didn't go to a whole lot of new places, so I didn't run into the end of my art budget yet. Yeah.
Golf clap.
Yay.
But
I think
it seems like we're on the horizon of departure.
Oh yeah. We're definitely something's about to start.
I feel
I
like
was just gonna say, yeah. It
don't
seems
buy
like
more. Don't buy more NPCs because they just get killed.
Buy back.
Hey, I got permission.
Hey.
All right, I'm allowed to kill who I want to kill.
Oh, I
I
didn't
don't
know
get rules
outlaws had
for
to ask for permission to kill people. My bad.
I think
Let me see your permission.
think
Let me see your hall
there's-
pass.
Let me see your license to kill.
I'm really excited. I think that there's a lot of stuff. We're entering territory that is completely, up in the air. I really wasn't expecting us to leave the town, or even I wasn't expecting that we would dreamwalk anytime soon. So that's a big part of Beck's character. There's a lot of mechanics around that need to be set up for things to work for everyone. So I'm interested in how the party will end up doing that. But I really liked this episode's like kind of build up to this idea of like things are collapsing here. Like this is a slow erosion of this town and its boundaries. And eventually people will need to move. Like there's Argo's dealing with it down with Wolfram. Lynn, you mentioned something about not wanting to stay here for too long. Conrad has this debt to pay off now, and that's a whole thing. And obviously Beck just wandered kind of out into the waste and realized, oh, this place is not like other places, and it's not going to be here for much longer. Things are taking over. Rick is changing, and he was hardly outside. So it's kind of amping up the stakes in a way that I think is really like thematically satisfying for all of our characters.
I've
So, yeah,
continued
I'm
my
glad we-
habit of leaving my character just blank enough that I can backfill in response to what the story is doing. So I was like, I see this underutilized location and character and plot element. I know how to work all this in to make it, just add that to the part of the character that hasn't been answered yet.
That's
I
the
called
tactic
dibs
I
and I'm
like
going to
to-
act on it.
And also I was
Yeah.
like, I saw the ass sprite. It's going to be in the series.
I'm gonna squeeze that ass.
I do want to meet more of the prostitutes.
I don't
Yeah.
think there are any.
There's
Unfortunate.
The one, maybe.
Maybe you'll see them as creatures.
I was gonna say,
Hi,
yeah,
Marty.
maybe someone from left town.
What I was expecting, so when you apparently you're already like in bed with this man, like twirling his butt, but like what I was
How do
imagining
you
was
do that?
Twirl a butt.
very skillfully.
It's easier with
um,
fur.
I imagine that like there was going to be a situation because there was a price, right? And one of the prices was look. I was imagining that there was going to be a situation where like you pay the $1 and you see something, and there's like a spot or something, or something's wrong. But I guess that's not the case. So it's interesting that it played out differently.
Well, he's downstairs, safer from the decay, is what it sounds like.
yeah.
But
the strange light of the dream that changes everything.
I'm really glad we got
Corrodes
like a specific noun or specific adjective for it of decay.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
So, backstory a little bit for the campaign. The whole concept of Beck and his character came from a few different ideas I had, but the big tentpole idea I worked with Ka on was this idea of like a character plagued by hunger, like the capital H hunger, the concept of hunger. So to see other tentpole concepts appear, proper nouns like that, like this is the domain of fear, this is the domain of decay. Like I'm excited to see what kind of NPCs we meet there, knowing Beck, and Beck being this representation of hunger as well. So it's kind of neat. It's just kind of very interesting.
Because my assumption is that since all these goblins are around, is like we are in the realm of hunger right now.
Anything could happen.
Because if we're in hunger and then fear is on the other side of this train of thought, as you will, then decay would be in the middle.
Yeah. I think it's very possible that, you know, Beck walking the path of hunger and then all of a sudden this town is in his way. It would make sense that this place kind of fell to the hunger domain, this place that he normally traverses through. And then suddenly this place is here in his way that he wasn't expecting. It would make a lot of sense why, you know, these goblins are encroaching on the territory of the town, and you all are running out of rations, and things are getting sick, and famine is spreading as people disappear, and there's these rumors of the town serving, or the meat wagon serving people. You know, as I mentioned as well, we determined in this episode that Billy truly was feeding this thing within this Damascus, this new thing that was there, that was eating at them. So it's interesting. The idea of this place being within the domain of hunger is very, very possible. I think maybe the most likely observation.
That's my suspicion. Either like, I mean, also because it told the law, the writing, it said that everything was marked until everything was marked, and it was told, it specifically brought up don't eat, right?
Yep. Don't sup upon his provations or whatever.
Until like the last midnight, which means that, yeah, this is like smack dab in hunger.
Yep. I think that makes a lot of sense. And it's going to change a lot for Beck. That's for sure. Once he realizes what he's dealing with, I think that's going to be a really big part of the next, my mindset going into the next episode for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We
Did
got
that show
our
anything
third
at all?
ever
No, it did not.
Ka-verse nipple.
Oh yeah, those are fun to have.
The only nipples in the Ka-verse ever were mysteriously shirtless Melvin.
Yeah.
Never again. Or since. Even the monsters that have their chests out didn't have nipples, but then Rick had one when he was a monster.
Just the one, as a treat.
I added notes for the session. Let me know if anything needs to be added.
I see a blank page.
Yeah, click off it, click back on, because...
I see it.
Oh, there we go. I just switched to page 1 and then back.
Yeah, like go back to 1
Bucky,
and 2.
no.
Northwest is where the toe eaters live. The land of Washington State.
Oh no, they're coming for me.
Writing backstory for Bucky made it sadder.
I liked killing him. It was fun.
I'll have to write the
tomato,
prequel
tomato,
story.
tomato. Throwing tomatoes at you.
Yeah. Once Southpaw is seemingly in the rear view of the plot fully, I'll then write a story about Bucky and Rick and Argo and what's going on there.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It'll be cool. I mean, it's fun to see all these character dynamics, and like I'm really excited. I was really hoping that at some point Wolfram would cross Beck's path, because I wanted to have a conversation with him, because they share a unique aspect to them that I don't think anyone else in the town shares with them. So just kind of cool stuff. What? They're horse? No, Beck is half native.
Okay, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So just like Wolfram, he has ties to the local into indigenous groups, but it is unlikely they share much of a connection beyond just maybe shared culture or language. So I was really hoping to run into him, but we'll have to wait until later to expand on that, I guess.
I did have fun headcanoning stuff, which doesn't actually make sense because I know enough about Beck that doesn't actually make sense. But it was just fun to extrapolate from some of the stuff that has happened so far in the story, and just obvious visuals and stuff that the audience was picking up on. I'm like, oh, we've got a golden-eyed coyote who has a tiger familiar, this endless hunger, like this insatiable, impossible to reclaim thing, like something that's permanently missing from him. And it's like, it's bad end Jet. Melvin died,
Yeah.
Jet went in the well and just was doomed to wander as this wraith displaced through time. And you can there's already details that contradict that, and there's about 40,000 words of them that contradict that in the actual story in back and journal for Beck. But I'm like, that was interesting to think about. It was fun.
No, I think that's an interesting parallel, and I think the way that at least Ka and I have talked about this whole campaign, not just Deadlaws, but like Cape Escape as well, like this universe we're building, is that it's sort of this idea of like repeated ideas and things going through, not like I don't want to say it's like all a cycle, but I mean in the same way that like American Horror Story is a lot of the same people playing different characters, and we're all sort of just examining those different lenses all through the same perspective. It's like there's definitely parts of like Jet and like a hunger and a burning for something that like can never be reached that's in Beck. But then there's other parts too that I take, like this idea of like he's a red coyote, he's from this place, he's an indigenous character he's a half indigenous character who maybe there's ties to the local area, his distaste for federal government, his desire for freedom. Like there are those connections too that kind of all tie together into this character, this product of the frontier that still can be read through that perspective of like these same ideas appear dispersed through the other campaign in the future, technically, because Cape Escape takes place 119 years from now. And that's not me saying like Beck is Jed's dad, like nothing like that. No. But
so what I'm hearing is Cape Escape 80s.
That we don't even give Ka the idea. We need to focus on this before this is done.
Baby, do you know what that heaven is a place on earth?
Oh, we're gonna go to the
could
mall.
Be wild. Oh man, 80s. If we do a campaign in a mall, I'm gonna play an 80s mall goth. He's the most insufferable furry you've ever seen. Oh, I'm so excited. But
You're
yeah,
just like
no,
a
this
cowboy
is,
goth at this point, though.
yeah. Hey, that's the thing. You grow
Chat.
up goth, you never change. You're goth always.
Okay, so I'm hearing that I need to play the prep, and I need to give her shoulder pads.
Chat just said, can't wait to find out that Argo's actually called the hero of Southpaw because of what he can do with his left hand.
Oh, no.
That's talent right there.
Hero of sticky paws.
No.
Oh no.
It's just fun. This has been a fun, this campaign, and it's fun to do the improv. We had a lot of like character to character dialogue and moment to moment scenes too, which is pretty rare. Like even in Cape Escape, we had a lot. I feel like we had a lot more NPC driven interaction in the first few episodes of Cape Escape. So this has been a fun change of pace.
We had party drama, and I was eating it up.
Oh, it's fun. I'm liking the dynamic between Conrad and Beck a lot, but I'm like Argo and Lynn kind of paired up, and like Nico and Mortadella. Like that's like a fun little group too. Is like I like seeing all the little clicks form.
I liked just clearing my throat and stepping away for the shootout. So it was just a moment of like, any moment earlier, he would have known you were the bad guy and probably would have let the cop do what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
But shit's escalated, and it's just sort of like, even aside from the debt situation itself, Conrad understands that like Beck is our only way out of this. So he was just kind of like, nope, like sucks, but this is the situation. Like,
yeah,
it was interesting, kind of shifting into an antagonist.
Yeah,
I mean, what I generally enjoy too is like more so. Although I do like NPCs, I do like it when there's character or there's PC interaction. And PC dynamics. And what I try to do like is I don't try to like attach to the hip to one character or the other. I try to move between as many as possible.
Yeah.
And see,
I think that's
where that
fun.
goes.
It's fun for the audience too, because they get to see like your character, Nicodemus, can become sort of a lens for everyone to look at everyone through, right? Like when it's just Beck and Conrad, or just Chance and Argo, or Lynn and Argo, or however many groups that we have, it can be easy to get like the perception of how these characters interact really skewed. So it's like it's good to have even just one person going and being like, I'm gonna do a check-in round with as many people as possible and just kind of flip between scenes once we get them, because it gives the audience more time to get to know those characters as well.
Like I still want like at some point, like I definitely want like a scene with Chance. I want a scene with Lynn. I want a scene with Argo, because I think I've kind of had some pretty good Conrad moments, some pretty good Beck moments.
Yeah, and I think that's like this is just a great session of just setting up what priorities are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
I love it.
Good.
We're doing a really good job of like laying foundation for setups. I feel like every single person here at the table, even if they don't know, every single aspect, or they don't plan like I do of like, here's what I want my character to be, I'm gonna work towards it.
Don't got a 40,000 word Bible for it.
I have like an if-then adventure, choose your own adventure novel.
You got a Twine novel written up.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, if Beck survives this scene and the sheriff is here, shoot him. Like things like that are all planned out in my head of like, here's how I will react to certain stimulus.
I think what makes
neural
such
network.
I think what makes this such a good mix too is like, okay, you don't want every single character to have like a 40,000 word lore Bible.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you want a few people to have that, which gives a lot of meat to work with for the other characters who are more pantsing or more improving.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you want to like, it's like, I don't really come into these things prepared to that extent, even though I have some idea of like what I might want to do with the character as a general arc. But if I were like, say, like doing this on my own, I would absolutely want to do that, right? I would want to have someone, because I think that also makes players more comfortable, because it helps them familiarize themselves with the tone and the setting and expectations and what characters can and can't do and what's normal and what isn't. It just makes us more grounded.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. This is my favorite thing in the world. I would do this every day, all day if I could. But especially with this character and all the things that we've been setting up, it's like someone mentioned in chat or in the comments of one of the episodes, I think it would have been episode 1, that Beck shows up and is evil Gandalf. And I really liked that analogy of like, oh, Beck is the level 99 wizard that shows up and is like, all right, hobbits, we're going on a journey. But it's like the inversion. It's the inversion of that, because I've written all of evil Gandalf's story and you're coming in at the end of it. And now it's like, all right, kids, it's your time to play. I'll chaperone you and like give you the lore you need to solve your quest.
But if Beck says "fly, you fools," it's because he's about to kick you off a cliff.
Yes.
Yes.
I liked him gently lifting me under the arms.
He's trying, okay? He's trying his best.
As I remember, this very short man is strong.
You gotta like bend down in your knees a little bit so he can lift you back up.
Yeah.
Unexpected with how thin and wiry he is.
Yeah, there's a lot of supernatural strength in him. I mean, he's a brawler. That's the thing. I think when I think about Beck, you know, he's a rough and tumble type, but he's got that like, I don't know. I think of like Scrappy Bruiser, like that type of archetype of like, you have to kill him to get him to stop. He's not gonna put you out with one punch, but he is gonna beat your face in, like that kind of.
He's got that crackhead energy.
Very much so.
Yeah, kind of.
Hungry addict is like his vibe. So he's definitely like, he craves violence. He really loves it. I mean, I don't think he would put it on a list of like, here's my top 5 things: murder and
1,
violence.
2.
Yeah. But I think he lives even in his original life. He as just an outlaw, a completely non-supernatural entity. He craved the thrill of like danger and violence, and I think he's drawn to the life of a dangerous outlaw because in his own thoughts, the world is for people who take. And so you just have to take. And how do you take? Well, you get real big and you get real strong and you get real scrappy and you just fight for it. And so that has become his sort of approach to danger and combat and violence. And it becomes the way that he lives his life. And even now, he still clings to a little bit of that spark. So, you know, I do have that character trait that prevents me from generally leaving people alive if they start an actual fight with me. So it is what it is.
And as far as you're aware, you haven't left anyone alive.
I have not, no. The one
Other
person...
than Conrad.
I thought our little jackalope was going to be a boss. Because whenever he like got into his very tense moment, we would hear that heartbeat. I was like, okay, this guy seems sus. But he's dead now. So I'm like, okay, I guess we don't need to worry about him.
He was there for his guy.
Hey, a life for a life, man. You got Stilton back.
That's true. That's true.
Well, I mean, you're the one that's taking.
Yeah.
Don't act like it's so generous.
We saved the more important of the two, for sure.
I'm just so upset by the idea that Beck is evil Gandalf, because that means that the goblin is Gollum.
Now we know we want the toes so juicy sweet.
We want the toesies.
The toesies. Oh, this is funny. This is good. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way that I've been trying to play it too, is like, Beck is a character that knows more about what's going on. And, you know, I don't want to sit here and just exposit to you all about anything. He is a person on a mission who explicitly stated that he doesn't care about most of you. So he's like, he's going to ask you a question and then leave you there with the question. He's not going to explain after you say, no, I have no idea who he is. I read about him in the paper. He's going to be like, well, fuck you then. Bye. Like, I don't need that. Which is interesting. Like, I think it's fun to play a character that creates this kind of conflict in the party, because I think it is very easy for people to play dark, grimdark, edgelord, super vampire murder cannibals like Beck and just be like, well, I attack my party member for 17 damage, and then he has to do what I say.
I eat their toes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, it's very easy to fall into that, and I'm trying very explicitly not to instead approach conflict from a position of a person who is so far above many of the situations in this town that he just can't be fucked to. He's not going to waste time on.
What's actually strange about Beck is that he's okay. Like in character, he's a terrifying man, but like as a narrative presence, he's almost sort of like a comfort character. Like not a comfort character, but like okay, that's the wrong phrase.
AO3 tag hurt character.
He's a load-bearing pillar.
Listen,
Whoa, load-bearing pillar.
He is
Not
holding
beating
it.
the whore allegations.